All right, today's film is 1940's Phantom of Chinatown. This is the sixth film in the Mr. Wong series. Now, the first five of the Mr. Wong films star Boris Karloff. With a name like Mr. Wong, you might think, hey, this character sounds Asian. And you're right. You might also say Boris Karloff wasn't Asian. You'd also be right. So why did I pick this? Well, I picked the sixth one. I said the first five star Boris Karloff. This one doesn't. This one stars Key Luke, an actual Asian American actor. Now, Key Luke was most famous, at least to me, as for playing number one son in the Charlie Chan movies. And he had a long career in acting after that. He played tons of other roles. So, 1940, a movie starring an Asian character played by an actual Asian actor. This movie is pretty astounding that it ever got to be made. So, Key Luke plays a kind of detective. It's not really clear. He is friends of one of the murder victims. The film itself is short. I'm sure it was like an opening feature. It's only 62 minutes long. So it makes it kind of curious that despite the short running length, the first 15 or so are spent with us watching some dude, white guy, explain how he found these ancient Chinese treasure. But then the dude dies. He gets killed under a mysterious circumstance. And it's up to Mr. Wong to figure it out. So, just the fact that this is a movie from 1940 starring an actual Asian American is pretty amazing. It's also kind of amazing that they actually kind of deal a little bit with racism. Now, it's not perfect. There are a couple stereotypical characters. For example, his cook is pretty stereotypical.
Good evening, fool. Late again, huh? You late. Me no late. You always late.
And there's an odd scene where Mr. Wong has to call to the elder in Chinatown, and they speak in this very sort of elevated fortune cookie style language. And
greetings. Only the eyebrows of youth would have the temerity to call the beard of age at such an hour.
How great a blessing is clear perception. Welcome, James Lee.
Thankfully, Mr. Wong himself does not speak like that at all. He just speaks perfectly plain, unaccented American English. And a couple of things they do to sort of combat, to deal with racism is when the police first get on the scene, they really are sort of interrogating him. And there's another Asian woman there. The actress's actual name was Lotus, and she was also in a lot of early films. And they're like, do you know each other? And I think the implication is just because they're both Chinese.
How do you fit into this?
Dr. Benton had just returned from the interior of China. I'm Chinese.
Are you Chinese, too?
Yes, sir.
Two of you work together?
I never
never
saw
saw you
her until
before,
an
no.
hour ago.
The detective says kind of some mildly racist things, and Mr. Wong kind of gets the better of him.
Everybody else have the same thing?
Everybody except Miss Winlen.
What'd she have, chop suey?
No, sir. She had a cup of coffee and a piece of apple pie.
It does that. There's also another great scene where after Wong has made friends with the cop, they go down to Chinatown and they're talking to a Chinese person, and Mr. Wong does some code switching. He goes from speaking English to speaking Chinese with this person, and it's really kind of neat to see happen.
If you don't tell me where that phone is, you're going to get in plenty of trouble.
Let me talk to him.
Unfortunately, the film was not really a success. And so this was the last of the Mr. Wong films. But it really gives an interesting glimpse into what could have been if this film would have been more popular and if there had been more films starring Key Luke in the future. But as it is, it's still an entertaining film. It's only 62 minutes long. The plot, I will say, is a little confusing, but it's still entertaining. There are worse ways to spend an hour. So I give it 3 thumbs up. Not a great story, but it's still fascinating, and it's historic.